Democrat Party. Thank you, James.
Thank you. Well, good evening. I'd like to start by saying thank you for organising this event. I'm James Blanchard. I'm the Liberal Democrat candidate for York Out at the general election we're having the day after tomorrow. And first and foremost, I want to say that I'm here to listen, because this isn't a subject I know masses amount, to be quite honest. Politicians often don't like to talk about drugs, and I think that's probably especially true when you've got an election in 2 days' time. But I do recognise that we have had a war, and I completely take on board what Tom was saying about it really being a war on people and a war for poor people at that. But we've had this war since the 1960s, and it's quite clear that the end result has only been more users, more addicts, more deaths, more violence. And the experience in the United States when they've tried to ban alcohol is the same. Prohibition simply doesn't work, so I think we do need to look at other solutions. Liberal Democrat policy is to move towards the situation they now have in Portugal, where if you are caught with drugs about your person, you are not given a criminal record. You are somebody who is seen as potentially needing some kind of treatment to help wean them off a problem. But I think that doesn't go far enough either, to be quite honest. If we look at the experience that Uruguay is having in South America, or two of the United States are having, particularly Colorado, where they are now taxing marijuana or cannabis. I must admit, I'm not clear which to call it. But yeah, they're taxing it, and they're making so much money that they've actually had to make a tax rebate to the people of Colorado. The drugs gangs based in Mexico are said to be losing billions of dollars because of this legal move, and I think that can only be positive, because at the end of the day, we can subject a legal substance to proper regulations so that people can get hold of it at the right times, the right age, that kind of thing. But if it's an illegal organisation, obviously they're going to have less scruples about that. And if we have, as the gentleman at the back does, if you're producing and you have scruples, that's great. But I'm sure you're not the only person in that situation. Talking about health particularly, though, I mean, I'm well aware of what a lot of cannabis users say about the impact, particularly on cancer and multiple sclerosis. And neighbour of mine has MS. I don't know if she uses cannabis, but I do know that she's regularly in a great deal of pain and is effectively bedbound in her own home. And if there are treatments available, then that's something that we're looking at, basically. One of the things we do need to do, though, is recognise that we have got an industry that has been built up around medicine and drugs, and cannabis perhaps doesn't interact with this too well. We've got a situation where companies want patents on drugs so they can sell them to our NHS for tens of thousands of pounds a year, and it makes them a lot of money. Now, that's got to end. There are all sorts of natural products where we know that there are positive health impacts. I mean, even something as simple as aspirin is ultimately derived from the bark of the willow tree, and we need to make sure that we have the ability to get natural medicines back into usage. One way that we want to do that, as Liberal Democrats were proposing, is a change in the way drug companies actually publish their research. If you do some research now into a new drug you're experimenting with, and it turns out to not be too good, then you're free not to publish it. And then things get kicked about, and then bring them out later, or you can say, oh, it's not as good as this other drug, which we are publishing something about. It needs to be sorted so that everything is out there, because otherwise we're in a situation where only the most expensive drugs receive the support from the companies, because they know that they will make the most profits from those. I don't know if you're aware of the work of a really excellent writer called Ben Goldie, who's a medical doctor and also appears on Radio 4 a lot now. He actually originated this campaign, and it's been taken up by the Lib Dem Party, and I think some of the other smaller parties have been looking at it as well. But it's an approach we need to take. It would basically give much more power to us small people away from those big companies. I always like to think of the Liberal Democrats as a party of personal freedom and of opportunity for all, whatever their background might be. But let's face it, freedom and opportunity are really hollow words if you don't have your health. So I think it's vitally important that we make sure that this is properly looked at. And Tom mentioned the Live Down Home minister. There's a chap called Norman Bacon. I actually saw he's got a picture on one of the leaflets on the seats. He saw to the publication of this excellent study which really put the light to so many of the things we've been hearing about cannabis and other drugs over the years from successive governments. And the Home Secretary insisted he'd be sacked for that. So that's where we are, but we can and I think we must change. At the end of the day, for me, the Liberal Party, as was founded by John Stuart Mill on what he called his harm principle. His idea that the only reason you should stop anybody doing anything is if they are harming somebody else. Tom mentioned the two different kinds of laws, and I like to think that we have always stood against that second kind of law, which seeks to control people, seeks to control communities, just because they might not fit in. Absolutely, I believe that we should be moving towards drugs legalisation to make sure that we are giving support where it is needed to users, because that is where the real problem is, where we have people who are addicts, might not have their own agency in terms of being able to get off the hard drugs that we might be talking about, but also to give them the freedom to do what you want to do with your lives. And if you want to smoke cannabis, whether that's for health reasons or as I did when I was younger, just because it's quite fun, then you should be allowed to do that. And I don't think politicians should be ashamed of saying that it's your life, and if you're not hurting anybody else, you should go out there and you should live your life.
I'm going to ask, it's John, isn't it, to talk now? Are you a patient, aren't you, John?
Well, no,
Ex-patient. Okay.
Okay. Thanks. I didn't know I was going to speak tonight, but thank you very much for letting me speak. My name's John Gosson, and I'm a Green Party member. I've been a member of the Green Party since 1989, and I stand in elections because I really support many of the Green Party policies, including the forward-looking drugs policy, which you've already referred to, and we've got Caroline Lucas on the front of there, saying that it's immoral for drug users to be attempted to be prevented from using their drug of choice. So I didn't research what the Green Party's drug policy was in detail with regards to the local elections or the general elections, but it's all online, so you can look at it yourself. And that's what I wanted to say about the Green Party, but I also wanted to say a little bit about my own experience. And I've been brought on a bit early because I might be getting a phone call from a friend who wants me to go and see him. I haven't seen him for years, so I might be rushing off to go for a beer, actually. I used cannabis recreationally from the age of 18, and I very swiftly moved up to using it every day. And I didn't use any tobacco. I only used cannabis in a pipe, or a water pipe, and I just got into a real nice, relaxing habit of using it 6 pipes a day for many, many years, every day. And during my late 20s, I realised I probably had ADHD, because I'm very lively, very enthusiastic person, and I self-diagnosed with ADHD. And I wondered whether my real liking for cannabis was connected with my use of, with my self-diagnosis of ADHD. Now, when I was about 40, I actually managed to go and get a diagnosis and was told that I did have ADHD as a child, and I still had some of the qualities that the ADHD personality has, but I had actually grown out of it because I was able to concentrate better. I thought, that's interesting, cannabis helps me concentrate. Now, my own experience of cannabis seems to be quite different to a lot of people. I used it to focus in on things and write and do repetitive tasks, and obviously I used it to listen to music and party and stuff, but I also found it didn't help me sleep. So other people say, I'll have a smoke and drift off to sleep. I used to have to stop smoking at midnight in order to go to sleep at 2 or 3, and if I kept on smoking it would keep me awake. So my only experience of it is very different, and I think that we all have different experiences of using it. And when I was about 40, and I'm turning 49 on Thursday, I had some mental problems with it. I suffered from a problem called globus hystericus, where your throat feels as if it's swelling up. And I went to a specialist and he said, yeah, you're just worried that your cannabis use is harming your throat, and it's psychosomatic, and now you know that it's psychosomatic, it'll go away. It did. I was also having some very, very subtle but a bit weird psychological problems, probably because I started smoking the higher, when I started smoking I'd have 2 or 3 pipes of what I could call Rasta grass from the MFM centre in Northampton when I started, and in the latter part of my usage I was smoking a third of a pipe of homegrown, not my own homegrown skunk, or white widow, or whatever you want to call it, but hydroponic stuff and stuff growing locally. So I believe the strength had gone up, and the CBD and THC levels have changed from the naturally occurring stuff that I used. So the mental effects that I was getting was recycling along, and I'd be quite happy in myself, and I was just thinking, I could just swerve in front of that bus or lorry in Edinburgh because I'm having such a great life. And that's really weird, because I generally don't feel suicidal, and I was having 1 or 2 things that just pointed me in the direction of not feeling completely comfortable. So I went to a place in town to see if I could get some help getting off it, but I didn't want to stop. I just wanted to use less, so I wanted to use it every other day, and I didn't quite know what I wanted, because I knew that it wasn't doing me a lot of good, but I still wanted to use it. And I didn't really get much help in getting off it. I was quite unusually approaching them, saying, I think I might have a problem with cannabis, but I also still see the benefits of it. Anyway, one morning I woke up and I wasn't feeling very good, and I used it when I was feeling kind of normal or good, but if I was feeling poorly, like with a cold or flu, I usually didn't smoke. So one morning I woke up and I was feeling poorly, I didn't smoke. The next morning I was feeling equally ill, so I didn't have a smoke. And the next day I was feeling a bit better, but I didn't have a smoke. And the next day I was feeling completely better, and I didn't smoke. And 3 days later I thought, it's given me up. And so I went from using 6 pipes a day for 22 years, almost every day, through to nothing overnight, no withdrawal, no problems. I don't have any regrets about using it. I don't have any regrets about giving it up. Now the interesting thing is I realised that after I stopped, that I wasn't using it what I would call medicinally. Yes, I think it really helped my mental health, in as much as I really had a wonderful time at parties and music and chilling out, but that's not what I would call that. I wonder whether it would help my hyperactivity, my energiness and stuff. Actually, after I stopped using, I was just exactly the same. I was no more hyperactive or no less. I was exactly the same as I was before. And so although I was telling people when I was using this, I was using it medicinally to help relax me from my hyperactivity and stuff, I wasn't. I'm really quite sure about that. The reason I don't use it occasionally is the first time I have a smoke after a gap, I get very paranoid, just on that first one. I tend to like the second pipe, the third, the fourth, the 555th, I just keep going all day, every day. So I can't go to a party and have a quick pipe and enjoy it, because that first smoke I have after a gap, I get quite paranoid, and it's not nice. The other reasons are that I looked at what I gained from using cannabis and what I have gained from not using cannabis, and this one just outweighs the using situation. So what I really enjoyed cannabis was the music, and the camaraderie with the people that I occasionally got together with, the feeling of a bit of being an outlaw. I think there's a bit of a rebel in me, and I think that was probably about it. The general euphoria of music and stuff was good. What I've gained from not using is my sleep is better. So I now sleep a lot better. I wake up more slowly and I have dreams, which are not here nor there, but I didn't have dreams when I was smoking, and other people will back me up on that. When you stop smoking, your dreams come back. A lot of people told me that. My moods are more level, so during the day, my wife reported that I would be quite grumpy and grouchy before my after breakfast pipe. And then my moods would be quite roller coastery, and now I'm a much more level, moody person without cannabis. The bad things about stopping using cannabis for me is the music. I don't listen to music in the same way. I still listen to music, but it doesn't do that for me like it did when I was a toker. My libido has gone down, which is a real shame, because I enjoy sex, but my sex drive went down very, very rapidly after giving up. But the good things are that I'm £15 a week better off. I'm not spending money on weed, and I'm not worried about getting busted. And that was a worry. I travel a lot for my work as an entertainer, and I'd come into York Station on the train, hoping the drug sniffer dogs weren't there, because I'd have someone look on and I was just hoping that I never got caught that way. So I do really support people who like to use cannabis recreationally or medicinally, or actually for whatever reason you download think. It shouldn't be illegal. That's my personal opinion and my party's opinion. I'm also really keen on good science. So I hear and read stuff a lot on the internet where I'm just thinking, be careful what you claim with cannabis, because when you look at cancer cells in a petri dish and you do some stuff with different cannabis derived drugs, that's cells in a petri dish. You cannot say that cannabis cures cancer without good science behind it. And as I've got a science degree, I'm very keen on evidence. I think the evidence will show that cannabis is very therapeutic in many ways and has lots of positive effects. But I want us to, this campaign that we're all in to stop the nonsense of cannabis being illegal, we need to be very careful how we phrase things and what we say. And I think we should be using the word might and could rather than is. That's a personal thing. So that's really my story, and I'm happy to share it with you. And if you want to talk to me about it, then I'm John Compost Cossum on Facebook. I'm very easy to find. You Google my name. I've got a blog, and I've done lots of writing. So that's all I'm going to say, really. I told you it wouldn't take too long.
Push to privatise water in poorer countries where you actually had to have a key, you had to pay for the key to access the water.
I can prove that a minimum of 60% of everybody's wages on this planet is paying interest to the banks.
Scientists are saying, no, man, if we don't turn this around in 5 years, we are going to reach the point of no return.
No, it's like I can still remember being a kid, and I can remember what it was like living that life of bullshit.
And whatever we can do to change that, whatever we can do to form groups, whatever we can do within ourselves to make small changes, is a step forward.
A lot of people are hanging around this system and try to fix this system. But what I would suggest is fixing this system or even another system is like giving painkiller to a dead.
We're divergent, we're different, and we can think outside the box.